You know, I discovered something about my old pickup here that I didn't know about. It's a 1978, and even way back then, I didn't know this, but it has a special feature on it that I just discovered yesterday. The special feature is that if you accidentally leave the lights on in this, they'll automatically turn off once the battery goes dead. Anyways, I'm a sucker. A buddy of mine called me up yesterday and said, "Hey Tom, there's two places in town that have fruit trees on sale, really cheap." And I thought, oh no, because I knew once I went down there and looked, I was going to be suckered in, and I did get suckered in. I went to both places. I got 4 potted trees. I got 2 apple, a nectarine, and a cherry. And then I went to the other place and got 2 apple and another cherry. But 4 of them are potted, and 3 of them here are bare root. I'm getting smoked out. I got brush burning right there from a bunch of wild blackberry bushes burning. The smoke was going west all day, and until I get the camera out, and then it decides to go east. But anyways, so I'm going to be planting these, and I should do those today, but I got that laziness thing going on right now. I'll probably do them tomorrow, so I will probably do a video of that. But what I wanted to do first was to show you the north garden here. So let me back the camera up so that you can get a good shot of this. Okay, so this is part of the north garden. Now, what I did have, I had a ton of raised beds in here in boxes. You'll see I took some of them out over there, and I've got more of them over here. And I had them just kind of sprung out in here, strung out in here. And this area here was mostly for, I had 2 onion beds over there, but it was mostly for my tomatoes. And then I've showed this area before. This is where I grew the squash and watermelon. But this area mostly was for tomatoes. So this is pretty much, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into an in the ground area. And it's about 35 by 40. But anyways, I'm going to actually surround this with fencing. But what I did first was, this was hard pan. This was like clay and decomposed granite, and it was just nasty stuff. You could never grow in it. But I needed to soften it up. So the way that I softened it up was, I first took snapshots of this. I laid down paper, and then I had some mix brought in. It's a topsoil compost mix. And I brought that in, and I've got, I don't know, probably a good 4 inches, I've got a good 4 inches here of topsoil compost mix. So I pushed that around with my plow. Wait, wrong video. And so I put the paper down, put this mix down, and then I'm going to bring in some wood chips, and I'm going to lay 1 inch or 2 of wood chips on here. Now what I'm going to do though is I'm going to bring the raised beds back in, and I'm going to grow 1 more year in the beds in here, because it's not going to give me enough time. It's not going to break down enough yet this year, because we're not going to get enough rain. Here it is February. I'll never be able to plant in this by May. So I wanted to get this established first though. I can walk on it no problem, whatnot. It'll compact and it'll be just fine. The real issue I needed to do was I needed to cover it. And so as long as it's covered with this stuff, it can be compacted, because this stuff is, even though it's compacted, it'll rake right back up again. This is a work in progress. I've already started the fence again. I had to take that down. So I'll put the fence back up, and I'll show you in another video how I put this fence. And now it's a deer fence, but even though it's a deer fence, a lot of people say, well, it's only just a few feet tall. That's true. But there's a couple reasons why I only wanted it a few feet tall. And I'll explain that in my video. I'm going to be, once I get this all done, spread out, I'll go ahead and start the fence, and I'll show you how I do that and how I keep the deer out of it. In a smaller area, the deer don't like to jump in, but in a large area like this, the deer will come in. They've done it to me before. They'll jump right over that fencing. So anyway, so this is what I've got going on here. I wanted to show you this real quick. And so this is still going to be, this year, going to be my tomatoes, pretty much my tomatoes. And then next year it's just going to be, it's going to be everything in here. So anyways, there's the progress that I've made so far on the north garden area. And then I just wanted to answer a few questions that people had asked me also. Well, spring is on the way, supposedly. However, our February has been worse than our January. It's been, I mean, we've had it down in the teens here, and our January was warm. But anyways, that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give you guys an update on the onions that I planted in these trays. And I showed this in my last video. And there was a lot of, I got some kind of, I got a negative feedback on it saying that it's just, that's just not the way to do it because they're going to freeze and they're going to rot and whatnot, and it's just going to kill the seeds. Well, here's living proof. Now, these have not been indoors. I started these in, I believe, December. I think that's when I started them, this by seed. And it just took a while, and it took about a month, but they finally just started coming up. Whenever we get a warm day, it would kind of stimulate the seeds and stuff. And now, the only thing that I've done to these is to keep them, I showed the dome that I put, that handmade dome that I put over these. And what it does is it keeps the rain and the snow and, you know, harsh weather off of them. And if it does get down in it, well, we've gotten down in the teens, and it's been just fine. However, the key to all of it is to make sure that this soil never freezes. That's the real key, because once that happens, then yeah, everything in the soil is going to freeze, and then it's going to, the seeds will probably perish. And so, but I don't worry about it. Like in the beds over there, those beds never freeze here. Now, if you live in an area where it's seriously cold and your ground gets rock hard, then this isn't going to work. So winter sowing is, you've got to play the cards just right. You're gonna, if you live in a really cold northern atmosphere, then you're going to have to wait until the ground is workable. It's soft enough to be able to put the seeds in, and then you'll be okay. But then again, you run the risk is if you get a really hard freeze, you don't want that ground to freeze. So with these here, if I was ever going to get like weather down in the single digits, I'd probably throw them in the greenhouse. Or I'd probably throw a blanket over them to keep them warm so that the soil doesn't freeze. That's the key right there. So people that have been wondering about that, this is how I do it. Now, I happen to live in Zone 7B, so I can do this all year. I can plant these in the fall if I want to, and then the ground never gets rock hard here. I just wanted to explain that because a lot of people didn't understand how they think that, like up in northern Canada, they can just throw their seeds in the ground and then expect them. That's just not. I didn't clarify that. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'll bring you in closer so that I can show you these real quick. And these came up about a month ago, and they've been growing for about a month. Let me bring you in real quick. Okay, so these I planted, I believe, in December, and they came up a few weeks ago. And so they've been growing in these trays for about 3 or 4 weeks, and they're going to stay in here until I'm ready. So they'll get up pretty high until I'm ready to put them in the beds. And these are going to get a jump on anything that I would be starting indoors. Because even though I can get them started indoors and I can get them nice and big and they look healthy, once I put them in the garden, I'm going to lose them. I'm going to lose some of them because they have to acclimate. And so they're going to spend a lot of their energy acclimating to the new environment. And so, in my opinion, they are going to be stunted. You're not going to get the full benefit. And so these have already got to jump on anything that I would start inside, because when I pull these and put these in the ground, they're already acclimated, and the first thing they're going to start doing is start growing again. So this is how I do it. And so people that were wondering, that's how I did them. Now, you're probably wondering, how come I don't have them like scattered? This was the end of a packet. That's why there's spots where there aren't seeds. So most of them did come up. It's just... that was all the seeds that I had in that pack. One last question was, how many varieties of tomatoes did I grow last year, and how many am I growing this year? Last year, I grew 37 varieties, which was kind of light for me. But This year I'm going to be starting the dwarf tomato project, growing those seeds out. And so I have 92 varieties in the dwarf tomato project. I'm not going to grow them all out, but I'm going to grow probably 50 of them. And then I'll probably grow another 50 varieties of my own from my own stock to put into my store. And so I'll probably have close to 100 varieties this year. Now I am going to increase the store. Last year when I set the store up, a lot of people kept asking me, can I buy seeds from you from your garden? And all the seeds on my website are from my own gardens. I don't buy bulk seeds like a lot of other people do and then just repackage them because I don't know where they came from. I don't know. I can't guarantee the environment that they were grown in, and so I don't do that. Every seed that I sell on my site. So that's why I don't have very many varieties right now, because I took the best stock that I had and just put a few up on the web, on my website, just to kind of get it going and to see how it does. And I've gotten a pretty good response. And so this year I'm going to be putting a lot more varieties, lots of cucumbers and lots of tomatoes and stuff like that. And so there will be a lot more coming on the website. So I'll put a link below so you can check that out and stay tuned on that, because this summer is going to be, I hope it's going to be a great summer. And this fall there's going to be a lot put into the store. So anyways, I better get inside because it's starting to rain like a booger. It was like 19 degrees last night and now it's raining. But I am under the madrone tree, so it's pretty shaded, sheltered. But anyways, guys, so thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch y'all later.